Infinitive versus gerund. I love to swim. I love swimming. Which one is right? We are going to find out today in this video, and I'm also going to give you more than 100 examples to help you understand. Hello and welcome to English Speaking 360. My name is Josh. Let's get started with a short quiz today. I decided to buy it. I decided buying it. Which one is right? She enjoys to cook. She enjoys cooking. Make your choice. We like to shop. We like shopping. This one is difficult. Let's start with the first one. I decided to buy it. She enjoys cooking. We like to shop, but also we like shopping. Do you know why sometimes we use the infinitive and some other times we use the gerund? If you don't, make sure to watch the video. Today I'm going to give you a lot of practice and don't miss the final quiz. Here's our program for today's lesson. We're going to take a look at many infinitive and gerund combinations with verbs, with adjectives, with prepositions, with objects, and with subjects as well. Here's what you need to know. Some verbs are always followed by an infinitive. To plus base verb is the infinitive. For example, I decided to buy it. Decide is a verb that is always followed by to plus the base verb, the infinitive. Some verbs are always followed by a gerund. A gerund is a verb plus ing that is used as a noun. For example, she enjoys cooking. Enjoy is always followed by a gerund, an ing verb used as a noun. Some verbs can be followed by an infinitive or a gerund. They can be followed by either one. For example, we like to shop, we like shopping. In this case, the verb like is very flexible. You can use either one. Verbs followed by an infinitive. Like we said before, an infinitive is to plus verb. Now, those are verbs for promises, plans, and desires. They are verbs that point forward to intended actions. For example, Julia plans to travel this summer. Plans to travel. To travel is the infinitive here. Promise. I promise to help you move. Hope. Jack hoped to see Leah at the party. Need. We really need to finish this cake. Oh, that's a great idea. The cake looks so delicious. Let's finish it. For all of these sentences here, remember, you cannot use a verb plus ing. You cannot use a gerund. You cannot say, Julia plans traveling this summer. It does not work. Let's go with 4 more examples. Want. Sam wants to eat pizza in Italy. Offer. I offered to pay for lunch. Expect. Tommy expects to get many gifts. Decide. I decided to subscribe to this channel. What a great idea. Make sure you hit the subscribe button right now so you can get all of my wonderful lessons. Here again, you cannot use a gerund. You cannot use a verb plus ing. You cannot say Sam wants eating pizza in Italy. It doesn't work. You need the infinitive after verbs for promises, plans, and desires. The most common verbs followed by an infinitive are right here. I made a list for you that's very useful. Let's get started. Promise to help. Plan to travel. Hope to see, need to sleep, want to eat, offer to pay, arrange to meet, expect to get, decide to sign up, demand to speak, deserve to win, wish to complain, manage to escape, promise to try, volunteer to talk, claim to be, pretend to study, seem to cry, learn to swim, agree to help, and refuse to answer. For all of these here, you can change the second part here. You see promise to help. You can change help with another verb. There's no problem. Another infinitive verb. Promise to study. But they only require an infinitive, never an ing verb. Now, maybe you wonder how to study that. It's very hard. And you are right. It's not easy to study. Practice is key. Here you need to make your own sentences. It's very, very important because there's something you should know here. English speakers do not study lists like this. I'm giving you the list, but don't try to study it and don't try to remember it. What you have to do is practice so that it comes naturally to you. So if you see volunteer, you should know that it's volunteer plus an infinitive. Volunteer to talk, volunteer to speak, volunteer to help. That should come naturally after practicing a lot. Verbs followed by a gerund. Now, a gerund is a verb plus ing. We're going to take a look at three main categories: enjoyment and experience, habits and patterns, suggestions and mental consideration. Let's get started with number one. Verbs about enjoyment and experience. She enjoys watching movies. Dislike. Most people dislike waiting in line. Mind. I don't mind working on weekends. Be careful here because maybe you think like, love, hate, stop, and start are also verbs of enjoyment and experience. But for these 5 verbs here, both are possible, a gerund and an infinitive. So we're going to study them a little bit later. So for the 3 examples that we have here, enjoy, dislike, and mind, you cannot use the infinitive form of the verb. Verbs about habits and patterns. Avoid. You should avoid eating fast food. Quit. She quit smoking last year. Finish. She finished writing her book. Keep. My students keep asking questions. Once again, you cannot use the infinitive form of the verb. You cannot say, you should avoid to eat fast food. It doesn't work. Verbs about suggestions and mental consideration. Suggest. He suggested taking a cab. Of course he did. He's a taxi driver. He's like, hey, why don't you take a cab? Great idea. Recommend. I recommend trying raw fish. It's so delicious. Consider. I'm considering buying a tablet. Imagine. He imagined being a superstar. For all of these, you cannot use the infinitive form. You cannot say, he suggested to take a cab. I know many of you say that. Suggest plus to and verb. It does not work. With suggest, it is always the ing, the gerund form of the verb. Let's review the most common verbs followed by a gerund. Enjoyment and experience. Enjoy watching. Dislike waiting. Not mind working. Habits and patterns. Avoid eating. Quit smoking. Finish writing. Keep asking. Suggestions and mental consideration. Suggest taking. Recommend trying. Consider buying. Imagine being. Here you remember you can change the gerund, right? Enjoy watching, you can change it for enjoy cooking, enjoy reading. As long as you have an ing verb, there is no problem. It works. Now, how to study? Like I said before, make sure you repeat until it comes naturally. Verbs that can be followed by either an infinitive or a gerund. Like, she likes to run. She likes running. There is no difference in meaning here. It's exactly the same thing. Love. They love to dance. They love dancing. Hate. I hate to wait. I hate waiting. Prefer. She prefers to be on time. She prefers being on time. 4 more examples. Start. She started to laugh. She started laughing. Begin. The baby began to cry. The baby began crying. Continue. We continued to walk. We continued walking. Bother. I rarely bother to clean. I rarely bother cleaning. Don't worry, it's not a picture of my kitchen. I'm not that bad. Let's go with a quick review. Like to swim, like swimming. There is no difference in meaning. This is very important. Love to dance, love dancing. Hate to wait, hate waiting. Prefer to drive, prefer driving. Start to rain, start raining. Begin to cry, begin crying. Continue to work, continue working. Attempt to fix, attempt fixing. Can't bear to see, can't bear seeing. And can't stand to be or can't stand being How to study this? Remember, practice makes perfect. Make your own sentences and work on improving your instinct. Some verbs can be followed by an infinitive or a gerund, but the meaning is different. Let's take a look at 5 tricky cases. The first one is the verb stop. She stopped to call me, and she stopped calling me. You see, it is the same verb, it is the same sentence, but in the first case, it is the infinitive. The second case has the gerund form of the verb to call. Okay, now the first sentence. She stopped to call me. What does it mean? For example, she was driving. She stopped her car, and then she called me. I'm very happy about that. She stopped to call me. So she stopped driving or she stopped the car to call me. In the second sentence now, she stopped calling me. What is the meaning? We had a fight. She doesn't call anymore. I'm sad. So you see, the meaning is totally different. In the first sentence, I'm very happy because she called. In the second example, she is not calling me any longer. Here's another tricky case. Regret. I regret to tell you the bad news. And I regret telling you the bad news. Do you see the difference? In the first case, I'm sorry I have to give you bad news now. I regret to tell you is used as an introduction to give bad news to someone. On the other hand, the second sentence, I regret telling you the bad news, means I told you the news in the past and I should not have told you. I should not have told you because you told someone else, so now I regret telling you. Number 3 and 4, remember and forget, they work the same way. Remember to lock the door versus I remember locking the door. So remember to lock the door, remember to do a future task. In the second sentence, I remember locking the door means I remember doing a past action. The past action of locking the door, I remember doing it in the past. Number 5, try. He tried to restart the computer versus he tried restarting the computer. Now, there is not a very big difference here, but there is a difference. In the first case, he tried to restart the computer, but it didn't work because the switch was broken, for example. So he made an effort, and it was very difficult to restart it, but in the end, it didn't work. He tried restarting the computer means he tried to do it to fix the problem. So try plus ing means an experiment or a solution to fix a certain problem. Verbs followed by a preposition require the gerund. A preposition is usually followed by a noun, so the rule is preposition plus gerund, because gerunds act as nouns and prepositions are followed by nouns. So remember, preposition plus gerund. I believe in helping others. I believe in helping. In is a preposition, so you need the ing. You learn English by practicing. By is a preposition, you need the ing form of the verb. He apologized for being late. She complained about working overtime. These are all good examples, and remember that you cannot use the infinitive form. Verbs followed by an object require the infinitive. It looks like this: ask someone to do something, or tell someone to do something. So someone is the object. For example, I told her to call me. Her is the object in this sentence, so you need the infinitive after the object. She asked me to pick up some milk. Uh-oh, I think he made a mistake. That doesn't look like milk, but it's a great idea. She asked me to pick up some milk. So me is someone, it is the object. The officer ordered the driver to stop. The driver is someone, the driver is the object. They invited us to join them for dinner. Us is the object, so you need the infinitive form of the verb. For all of these sentences, the ing form of the verb does not work. I told her calling me. She asked me picking up some milk. Doesn't work either. However, some verbs followed by an object require the bare infinitive. The bare infinitive is only the base verb without to. These verbs are perception verbs: see, hear, watch, notice, and feel. For example, we watched him score the winning goal. In this sentence, him is the object, but we don't say to score. We watched him score the winning goal. We felt the temperature drop suddenly. Ooh, winter camping can be dangerous. We felt the temperature. Temperature is the object. There are also other verbs that require the bare infinitive. Those verbs are causative verbs: let, make, and have. They won't let us enter without a ticket. They won't let us enter without a ticket. You cannot say they won't let us to enter without a ticket. He had the barber cut his hair very short. He had the barber to cut doesn't work here. So remember, for all of these sentences here, you cannot use the infinitive and you cannot use the gerund either. You need to use the bare infinitive only. Adjectives are always followed by an infinitive. So remember, adjective plus infinitive. For example, I'm always happy to help. In this sentence, happy is your adjective and it's followed by the infinitive verb to help. We are ready to begin the meeting. Ready is the adjective. He was disappointed to lose the game. Disappointed, adjective. I'm good at to swim. This one does not work because in this case, it's not only adjective plus infinitive, it is adjective plus preposition. At is a preposition and then it requires the gerund. I'm good at swimming. ing is the gerund. But for the three first examples, you cannot use the gerund. I'm always happy helping doesn't work. We are ready beginning the meeting does not work either. Adjective plus preposition followed by a gerund. Now, you remember the rule, preposition plus gerund. We talked about it before. So, if you add an adjective before, it doesn't change the rule, preposition plus gerund. Let's see a few examples. I'm afraid of losing my job. Afraid is your adjective, of is your preposition, therefore you need the gerund losing. She's excited about traveling. Excited, adjective, about, preposition, traveling, gerund. He's addicted to playing video games. Addicted, adjective, to, preposition, playing, gerund. I'm interested in learning how to cook. Interested, adjective, in preposition, learning gerund. Many students ask me, what should we use at the beginning of a sentence? And the answer is, you can have a gerund as the subject, or you can have an infinitive as the subject. If you put a gerund as the subject, it is the most common way, the most natural, the most everyday way to do things. For example, smoking is bad for you. Learning English takes time. Being late is not acceptable. Finding a job is difficult. These are very common sentences in English. However, if you put an infinitive as the subject, it is more formal, more dramatic, more philosophical. To travel is to learn. To know her is to love her. To fail is part of success. To try again shows courage. So you see there's a very big difference here. So if you want to be more natural, use the ing version, the gerund as the subject version. Here's your final summary. We've studied so many things together today, so let's get started. Verb plus infinitive, I want to go. We need to study. She plans to travel. Verb plus gerund, I enjoy reading. He avoids driving. They considered moving. Verb plus the gerund or the infinitive, we love to cook. We love cooking. She likes to work there. She likes working there. Tricky verbs, watch out here because the meaning changes. Stop smoking, stop to smoke. Verb plus preposition plus gerund, you should think about moving. He apologized for being late. Verb plus object plus infinitive, he asked me to help. Tell her to wait. I want him to come. Adjective plus infinitive, it's easy to learn. It's hard to wake up. She's afraid to fly. Adjective plus preposition plus gerund, he's good at solving problems. I'm afraid of asking for help. Gerund or infinitive as subject, learning takes time. To forgive is difficult. Make sure you take a screenshot here. This will help you remember all the different categories with many examples. It's quiz time. Now test yourself. Here's a sentence for you. I love to swim in the ocean. I love swimming in the ocean. Which one is correct? The answer is, I love to swim in the ocean, but also I love swimming in the ocean because love is one of the common verbs that can take either the infinitive or the gerund. Question 2. She wants to answer the question. She wants answering the question. Which one is right? She wants to answer the question. Verbs for promises, plans, and desires require the infinitive. Question 3. He's famous for to tell hilarious stories. He's famous for telling hilarious stories. Make your choice. He's famous for telling hilarious stories. Adjective plus preposition. For is a preposition, and after a preposition, we always use the gerund. Question 4. Imagine to live by the sea. Imagine living by the sea. Imagine living by the sea. That is a verb for mental consideration, so it requires the gerund. Question 5. Living in a big city can be expensive. To live in a big city can be expensive. Which one is right? Living in a big city can be expensive, but also to live in a big city can be expensive. Why? Because both the infinitive and the gerund can be used as subject of a sentence. Question 6. We were surprised to hear the good news. We were surprised hearing the good news. Which one is right? We were surprised to hear the good news. Adjective plus infinitive. Question 7. She convinced me applying for the job. She convinced me to apply for the job. Make your choice. She convinced me to apply for the job because there is an object. Me is the object of the sentence, and whenever there's an object, you need the infinitive. They succeeded in winning the championship. They succeeded in to win the championship. Which one is right? They succeeded in winning the championship. Why? Because after a preposition, in is a preposition, you need to use the gerund. Question 9. I enjoy to walk in the rain. I enjoy walking in the rain. Make your choice. I enjoy walking in the rain. Why is that? Because verbs for enjoyment require the gerund. Question 10. She stopped kissing me. It made my day. Or she stopped to kiss me. It made my day. Now watch out here. This is one of the tricky cases. You ready? She stopped to kiss me. It made my day, right? So stopped kissing means no more kissing, whereas stopped to kiss means she stopped doing something else to come and kiss me. And that is the right answer because I said it made my day. It made me very happy. Great job, guys! You need extra practice with this in order to develop your instinct regarding the infinitive or the gerund. Go to my website, EnglishSpeaking360.com. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.